And I mean, we can go down this topic if you want, but so many people place. We were kind of talking about this earlier, actually. So many people place finances above everything else. Like, I was gonna say kids, but honestly, everything. Like their marriage, which is kind of what we talked about in the beginning. The reason why we can spend so much time together is because of the way we built our life. Well, if we built our life around finances, we did it all wrong.
Yeah.
But we built it around each other. We built it around spending as much time as possible with each other, not building our life around how much money we could make.
Yeah.
Because if it was around that, we wouldn't have kids, and you'd be working a job, and I'd be working a job.
Yeah, or we'd have kids, putting our kids in daycare every day just so that we could both go make as much money as we possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I've met many women who are like, well, I don't want to work, but I order from Amazon every day. You know, because their whole life is based around maybe not the finances themselves, but the stuff that they're gaining from their finances. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're borderline, like, we would be broke and happy and be just fine because we sustain each other and God sustains us.
Yeah.
And we sustain our kids. Like, I mean, there's definitely a difference between, like, suffering broke. I mean, I don't think that a man should ever be in a place where you're, like, suffering broke. Yeah. But we would be fine having our bills paid, and we would be happy and content, where somebody goes from having, like, all of a sudden they can't have Starbucks every day and their life is
miserable.
Yeah, and their marriage is miserable. Yeah. And that's sad. But yeah, a lot of marriages 100% do run off of their life being based around finances.
Yeah, I'd rather downgrade my life and spend that time with you and our kids.
Yeah.
And instead of living in a 4,000 square foot house because we both work a job and send our kids to daycare, I'd rather live in a 2,000 square foot house with all of our kids at home, with you at home, and work remote and spend every day with you. I think that little decision in itself is a game changer in relationships, because so many people, that 2,000 square feet is everything. Yeah. Like, you see so many people, the median income in America is $55,000 a year, right? So that's household, married income, like, together, which is nuts. But it's like, okay, well, I don't know if that counts with kids or not, but if it does count with kids, why not just go a little bit lower? Because the difference between $35,000 and $55,000 isn't that much. Like, it's $20,000, but it's like the difference in the lifestyle doesn't really change that much. Like, what would you? I mean,
55 to 35 is a big deal. 55 to 50 may not be a big deal, but 55 to 35
is like a few $100s a month.
55 to 50? Yeah, I mean, that's not a big deal. But jumping $15,000.
I guess what I'm saying is that $20,000 worth sending your spouse to work? That's more so what I'm saying. Like,
I don't think so. I mean, or sending your kids to school, not to school, but to school, but not to daycare either. But no. Something is it worth giving up something of such high value? No.
Yeah, so I'm like, I don't.
To move around some stuff and figure out. I was just thinking like $35,000 with 5 kids would be
nuts.
But you could definitely figure it out. I mean, I think that all goes back to our very first subject, though, where we've made our mission, you and I.
Yeah.
And we've made our mission our family. Because we would go through almost any scenario to make sure that mission stayed good and that we were still on that battlefield and that we were going to win that war at the end of our life. Like, that our kids could say we had a good family, for us to be able to say that we died best friends.
Yeah.
We had a life together as best friends.
We were examples to them.
Yeah, and that the marriage, outside of your bond with God, your covenant with God, your marriage is your number one priority. Our number one, ministry. So, but I think that's why people outsource to caring about the 4,000 square foot house, is because they have marriages that suck. and they have husbands that suck and wives that suck, and they would literally rather focus on the material of what they have versus fixing their marriage, because either they feel like they can't fix their marriage or they feel like it's not worth fixing, and it's easier to focus on the square footage of your house. But the reality is you're just gonna keep digging yourself into a bigger hole.